when we kind of enlightened, what happened to ego and the truth? Some people say that we can remove completely the ego so that we can live with the true nature. So how can you describe the relationship? I don't believe that. So how do you believe it?
Who's asking?
I'm sorry?
Who is asking? Who is asking me?
I don't know.
Don't say I then, because you don't know I.
No.
Yeah, just don't know. Okay? Just think into that. Don't think about these other things. That's like saying, looking at your food and thinking, will my stomach work? I don't know. Well, maybe my stomach won't like it. Either eat it or don't eat it. Is that my ego? Is it my clear mind? I used to think that stuff. It drove me nuts. Am I like being clear now, or is that just my ego thinking I should do that? Oh God, that was so horrible. And it took years for it to stop, So just find ways to cut that. And even if it reappears, don't make another thinking about, oh, it keeps coming up again. So what do you do when you're sitting? What's your practice? See, it's important to be clear about that. Like some people are asking themselves some question. Other people are given by a teacher mantra. Sunim used to always start people by saying, when you're sitting, as you breathe in, say to yourself 3 times, clear mind, clear mind, clear mind. As you breathe out, say 1 time, don't know. So that's what he gave you to do. Then when you're doing that, you can see very clearly, I can do it or I can't. Some people teach, some teachings is as you breathe in, 1, breathe out, 2, breathe out. You try that, count to 10, and then begin again at 1. It's very hard to do. A lot of people can't do it 3, 4 times in a row. You get to 5, and then you're already thinking something, and you breathe in, oh, what number was I on? It's embarrassing. I taught that in graduate students at Harvard University. And I figured I don't want to get into a discussion with them about mind and ego, true self, like you're asking, because they're smarter than me, and they'll have all kinds of great ways of explaining it. But Buddhism isn't about explaining. It's about doing and being. So I just taught them breathe in, breathe out, and count to 10. And it was so interesting because it was a course on Asian women's Christian theology, which was taught by a Korean PhD woman. And she was Christian, but she started coming to the Zen Center when she and her boyfriend broke up. You want to hear something really wild? She told me once, she's Christian here, Buddhist here, and Mudang here. So whatever, I thought I became a monk, and yet you do nothing, but everything's so interesting. If you do something, you're going to have a problem. But if you don't do anything, the whole universe shows itself. But in any case, she asked me to come and teach them meditation. Then we only did that 15 minutes. And at the end, we just asked everybody, what's your experience? And one woman was so interesting. She said, I grew up evangelical Christian, very strict style Christian. And she said, the whole time I kept thinking, I'm going to go to hell for doing this. And then I realized all I'm doing is breathing and counting to 10. So she saw something, yeah. So don't worry about ego or true self. Throw it out, When you're sitting, just do a practice. A lot of Koreans like imoko. They heard about it, read about it, they like to repeat imoko. What does it mean? What am I? What does that mean? What is, what am I? What is what? I, what is I? What is? What is? what is, you know? I mean, that's how you have to look at these things. You got to really look at it, you know? And we do sometimes when we're little kids. I've told this before. When I was 8 years old, I stood in front of the mirror and repeated my name like 100 different ways. And I was thinking, what do these sounds have to do with me? And I realized nothing. It's just what my parents and friends use when they want my attention. That's all, you know? So we can't say, I am Dae Bong. You know, what is that? That's a kind of a joke. It's a bunch of sounds. My best friend, one of my best friends in America just calls me Bong Bong. My cousin's kids made a fan club because they thought it's so strange that their parents' cousin is a Buddhist monk, and they called it the Bongaroos. So, I mean, what, you know, why not? You know, my mother, Dae Bong Sunim, she'd look at me like, what the hell is that? You know? Probably your parents too, when you visit, they call you Sunim? Like, maybe, but I don't think so. You know, that's your crazy idea. You know? So you got to really look at these things, but it's very helpful to have a very clear, okay, body's clear, we're sitting. In our style, there's a few ways to put your legs, but you don't want to sit like this because it twists your hips. You can sit both legs back, you know. Also, in our style, if you're in pain or too much falling asleep, you can stand up and continue. So that's body. Next, mind, breathing. Be aware of your breathing coming in, coming out. As soon as we pay attention to our breathing and we're aware of it, we're in the present moment. Even just trying to stay aware of our breathing, whether we're thinking or not, at some point you'll notice you're not aware of it anymore. You're involved in the thinking. You didn't feel it coming in and out. That's also a good practice. Then when you exhale, make exhale about twice as long as inhale. That will help your energy come down and relax your body. But we have a thinking emotional habit our whole life, so it doesn't change quickly. So we have to tolerate body pain, crazy mind, emotions, and just slowly keep aiming at this moment. Aware of my breath and mind. Somebody who has lots and lots of thinking, we tell them to repeat Kwanzaa Bosa. You know, over and over, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, doesn't matter. And then you notice when you're not saying it. Because some opinion, some emotion, some, you know, idea appeared. That's okay. Come back to it. Or different mantras are used. Or some people use a wadu. They look into some question. And then when they get a sense of not knowing, when that sense of, that's the point. It's not the question, but it's the sense of not knowing. When that becomes strong and steady, you don't even need to keep asking the question. But that can take a long time. And it's also very hard for people in busy lives. I'm not sure how monks and nuns do it if they're on their handphones a lot. Because how can you keep that steadiness? Where I can watch a movie on an airplane and do mantra, you know, it's cool. I can't talk to somebody and do mantra, I'm not so good at that. But you can do mantra while they're talking. Or, you know, if you're gonna think, better do a mantra and listen. So be clear, don't just try to be clear. You know, have a very clear practice. Soto style, I don't know, I'd have to ask Sunim how they teach that. I know one thing they do is they're more strict and clear about the body. So that gives you some reference. Am I paying attention? You know, am I pressing my thumbs together, or did I go like this? So there's a technique that helps us see when we're not paying attention or we're being controlled by our thinking, our emotion. So and then of course there's a tendency to get attached to that technique, but you get over it if you keep trying. You can use the technique without being attached. But not in the beginning, you have to try. So, also, some people can actually pay attention to each thought that appears and try not to hold it and see when they hold it and when they can let it go. But there's some clear effort where one can see when one's not doing it. That's my opinion. Because all the universe expects of us when we're sitting here is sit here and be here. You know, everything else is extra. It's like having a car, using it, coming home, and leaving it running while you go inside to eat and go to sleep. So we're getting the car's engine to relax. And another way is very interesting what Bodhidharma did. Sunim believes that he just did what we call Tunjang breathing. Slow breathe in, slow breathe out. And then a great master said an interesting thing. Bodhidharma sat 9 years in Sorum. He didn't believe in, meaning attached to, anything that appeared in his mind. That's really would be something, you know. It doesn't mean nothing appears, just not attaching to anything. That means our center's strong. Then even feeling or thinking comes, can't stay a long time. When I was first practicing, my thinking just seemed non-stop. But if you keep trying, you have experiences that lighten your life. One day I came home from work at the Zen Center. I had a half an hour before dinner and I laid down. And for the first time I felt tired in years, but not depressed. And I realized, wow, I always experience those two things together. But by trying to follow the correct situation of my situation, bowing, chanting, sitting, eating the meal, going to work, eating lunch, working, coming back, chanting, sitting, go to sleep, again and again and again, this mental, psychological thing of being depressed separated from simple body tired. That was a wonderful thing, something as simple as that. But it comes from being clear about, I'm doing what's important now, I'm required now or not. When we sit, that's all we have to do. If we could just do that, we'd be Buddha. And then as soon as we stand up, we could do the next thing. Somebody has a problem, then boom. Somebody this, then boom. It's time to cook, then boom. It's time to eat. Never saw this before. Okay, let's see. Wanting something's a problem. I was thinking when Sunim talked, it's wonderful to hear her talk. After she finished this 4 years of training at Musangsa, where she doesn't have much opportunity to do any kind of meditation other than just live in the situation, I said, you want to come to Musangsa for the retreat? And she said, no, she wants a quiet retreat. Do you remember this? So she wanted to go to Hwage-sa, where there were only about 5 people sitting. And I thought, gonna have a problem. And she went to Hwage-sa, and there was another nun there who, like a demon, attacked her almost the whole 3 months. So be careful what you want. What we say is if you put it down, it comes. But if you don't, what you don't want comes. The great master once said, we create what we fear. We make what we fear happen. And we can't control that. That's an unconscious process. So practice is very important because then we're cleaning out our conscious and our unconscious. And not only are we cleaning, but we're learning how to digest what appears. So even if shitty things appear inside or outside, we can digest them. One simple example. We used to have a building down where the stones are at the end of the driveway. It was kind of a crummy building that was first used by the workers when they built this building and the next building. They lived in it. Then after they left, it became our storage place. Then some of the women who came to the temple one day, a long time ago when Haetongsi was here, before he went back to Wagesa, asked him to ask me, can they make a gift shop in that storage place? Then my first thought was to get angry. I remember we were on the driveway here. I got angry right away and I thought, what are they going to, they're going to kill the practicing atmosphere. Below many Korean temples, maybe you know, the gift shops appear, and if it's a big temple, restaurants and drinking places, and it's just total, you know, who wants to live near that if you've come to a temple to do meditation? So anyway, I thought, they're going to kill the, you know, and I was pissed off and everything, and this is going on for about 2 minutes, and then in my mind, who the hell knows? I don't know whether it's going to be good or bad. You know, I'm sick of my ideas anyway. So I said, okay, tell them they can do it. So they were really happy. They put some mats in that you plug in to heat it up. They got a display case. They went up to Seoul and bought a lot of beads and incense and put it in. They got teapots and stuff in that, you know, the old style coffee, you tear and pour it in, and it's total garbage, but that's all people used to drink, you know. And they were happy as hell. I think in the year that they were there, I might have been the only one who bought anything. Sometimes hikers would come down and be curious, you know, because they'd see signs on the outside, Musangsa and blah, blah, blah. And they'd come in and they'd hang out with the Bolsonims and talk and make tea. I went down there a couple times and they made the crummy coffee for me. And I was like, thank you, you know. And then after a year, they got bored and they stopped it. And I thought, wow, I was lucky. If I had said no, they would have been pissed off, and then, you know, the atmosphere would have been bad, which is what I didn't want. I said yes. They were happy as hell, and then they got bored, and it's over. Now the city's building buildings out here, so that's the new one. What is there, 5 coffee shops on this street, and there's another new building coming in. So, of course, I want to be alone in the mountains, but come on. If it happens at all, it's not happening today. So, you know, what if we're refugees one day? What if we're caught in a war? What if somebody's standing in front of us about to kill us? It doesn't matter what we want then. So we might as well get used to not getting what we want. Then when you get what you want, it's like, okay, little vacation. So everybody's doing really well. Hit all the thinking that appears. Don't add to it, oh, I'm thinking so much. Just use your practice. Our great teacher, Sunim, on the right there, he said, everyone knows meditation is medicine for the sicknesses of the mind, but just thinking that is also a sickness. Just he said, don't check your mind, just practice. Just make your practice strong. So that might be doing mantra, coming back to your breath, showing up on time, numerous opportunities during sitting or during a day. And as we get a taste for it, from 1 week or 1 month or 1 year or a whole lifetime of practicing, we can get better at doing that in our everyday life. That's helping everybody.